This is the Jason Walker Show. Two-time National Sports Media Association Montana Sportscaster of the Year and three-time loser, the Jason Walker Show. The best local and statewide sports coverage, featuring the biggest guests from Montana.
Flint Rasmussen joining us here on the Jason Walker Show.
It's freaking exhausting, too. You used to dance a lot more. Yeah, I know, lady. I'm 51 years old now.
The NAI Hall of Famer Mike Van Diest joining us here, Jason Walker Show. And is it just a deal where quarterbacks have to be good golfers?
Well, that's all they have time for. They don't work out. They don't lift weights. They don't do anything else. They might as well go get on the golf course, at least have some fun.
And from across the country,
Doug Gottlieb, our guest here on the Jason Walker Show.
End of the day, remember, it's your show. It's got your name on it.
Howie Mandel, our guest here.
Jason Walker, deal or no deal?
the Jason Walker Show.
Hey, what up? Happy Wednesday. Jason Walker Show in the Off-the-Wall Advertising Man Cave, all set for a big one. We're going to have a lot of fun today, as we always do here on the Jason Walker Show. Appreciate you tuning in. You can watch on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube anytime. You can listen on Podbean, Network One Sports. You can go to jasonwalkershow.com for everything. You can go to Spotify. You can go to iHeart. This show is heard in 50 states and 56 countries. And Continental Divide Radio kicking into high gear as well. It is awesome, and appreciate you joining us each and every day here on the Jason Walker Show. Coming up today, we're going to check in with East Helena coach Tyler Murray. Picked up the first win of the season last week at Hardin. Tough one coming to town to East Helena on Friday nights. We'll talk to him about that. And Buttecast.com host, writer, Tapper Light, Bill Foley will join us to talk about, well, a couple of dudes on Facebook, and we'll talk a lot of, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff with Bill Foley coming up. You're going to want to hang out for that. So looking forward to it. The Walk Up brought to you by Montana Custom Log Homes, the premier log home company in the industry. 3 distinct divisions so you can create the log home of your dreams and your budget. They've got over 50 years experience. They have the finest craftsmen available in the West. They are amazing. You can check out Montana Custom Log Homes at yourcustomlog.com. Coming up later this month, we'll actually be hanging out, I believe, with Art and his lovely wife, Robin, as we check out our property and see what they can do with the property we own, or my wife, mostly. I think she put my name on. I don't know. And build a cabin up there next year, hopefully. So, hanging out, like I said, in the Off-the-Wall Advertising Man Cave. They are the absolute best. If you need anything done advertising-wise, get a hold of Chase and Off-the-Wall Advertising here in Helena. They will take care of you across the state. Still got pictures trickling in from Washington Grizzly Stadium, from Bobcat Stadium, from opening weekend, of people seeing our posters everywhere in the restrooms at both. Also, we're everywhere. Missoula, Bozeman, Helena, Butte, Great Falls, Kalispell, Billings. Love it. Thanks to Off the Wall Advertising. You can weigh in on the show anytime at JWalkerSports. You can tweet us there. You can email Jason at jasonwalkershow.com, and check out Continental Divide Radio at jasonwalkershow.com as well. Starting with, I've been saying this for a long time, and it's really true. But, and I'm not a huge Grizzly fan. I'm a Bobcat, unabashedly Bobcat, right? But there was some news that came out, I believe yesterday. And I'm trying to find the story. But for a long time, I mean, really, 20 years, and we'll say 15 years. What Carroll College meant to the Frontier Conference, what it did to the Frontier Conference, and the entirety of the NAIA is the same thing that the Grizzlies did with the Big Sky Conference and the FCS as a Division I AA FCS as a whole. Everybody had to elevate their game to keep up. You saw new stadiums, all sorts of new things. And, weight rooms and whatnot. So everybody had to elevate. You saw Rocky do it. You saw teams across the NAI do it. You saw Tech get new facilities, turf. You saw, Montana Western's getting a new stadium and its own stadium with turf. And MSU Northern with its turf. Carroll's the only one left with grass. The Grizz were the same way. Everybody else had to elevate to keep up with the Grizz. And you saw it with, renovations to Bobcat Stadium, and then you started seeing it across the rest of the conference and the FCS. I mean, Southern Oregon and the NAI and the Frontier, Eastern Oregon. New facilities. Well, Carroll announced yesterday that by the start of next football season, the Nelson Stadium Enhancement Project, which will mean turf and stadium lights, which is a long time coming. You play soccer on that field. You play football on that field. It's like Vigilante in, late season. A lot of wear and tear. A lot of weather. It's tore up because it's natural grass. I think Helena's high schools, AA, are still the only ones without turf. And Vigilante is just falling apart. Nelson Stadium, long time coming, $5 million. They're raising it, but they'll have turf and lights installed by the start of next season. And it's long overdue. So fantastic news if you are a Carroll College fan. I was talking to a guy the other day on the golf course who's on part of the board of directors or whatever they call themselves. But he said they'd looked at adding seats where the hillside is, but that would cost more than the turf and the lights. So that's getting done. And kudos there. And now they can, you've got crosstown soccer that's played on that field. But now you can have crosstown football up there under the lights. You can have, minor concerts. You can do a lot of things now. And it's a good thing. And it brings Carroll up to date now with the rest of the Frontier and really most of the NAI. So there is that news. Let's see. What else did we see? Oh, the high school power rankings are out. 406mtsports.com, the ones I trust. And Class AA, man, it's going to be it's a 6-7 horse race. Glacier on top at 2-0. What have they outscored their opponents like a lot to a little? 93-7. They've outscored opponents. You got Bozeman at 2-0. Cliffhanger, wire coming down to the wire to beat Helena High in the opener. Rolled Butte last week. Gallatin 2-0, beating Capital in week 1. CMR's 2-0 on the year. And Helena High ranks number 5. So that's the AA poll. Class A, the usual suspects. Hamilton, Lewistown, Big Fork, Dillon, Columbia Falls. No Billings Central in there, however. You got Class B, Florence Carlton has outscored its opponents by a ton. 27-0 over Jefferson, 47-0 over Townsend in the first 2 weeks. Defending champs looking like the defending champs. Columbus, number 2, Eureka 3, Loyola 4, Red Lodge 5, and then Joliet, Big Timber, Manhattan, Thompson Falls, and Jefferson getting votes after pasting Cutbank last week. In 8-man, it's Fairview, Circle, Ennis, Fort Benton, Choteau, Arlee, Valley Christian, Plentywood, St. Ignatius, and Sims. And in 6-man, Froid Lake, Big Sandy, Power Dutton Brady, Roy Winifred, Savage, Denton, Geyser, Stanford, and whoever else. DGSG. Oh, is it Geraldine? 2-0. Harlow, Reigate, Judith Gap at 7, Centerville 8, Westby, Grenora 9, and Knoxon coming in at number 10. Those are the latest rankings across the state of Montana. Jason Walker Show, brought to you in part by Nitro Green. Make sure you check out Nitro Green next year. They will keep your lawn looking good. They'll do sprays for insects, rodents. They are awesome. Had our fantasy draft last night. 2 years ago, I was my first year in our league. I won the whole thing. Last year, I took second. Back to redeem the title or reclaim the title this year. Here's my roster, okay? And you can let me know what you think at J Walker Sports. Call or text. Phone number 406-209-1267. You can also email Jason at jasonwalkershow.com. Okay. Josh Allen, quarterback. Feel like that's a good pick. I got Nick Chubb at running back along with Najee Harris. Picked up Najee Harris in the 3rd round. Texted Jefferson coach Clint Lang. He said that's a great pickup. T. Higgins, Mike Williams, Mike Evans, Tyler Lockett are my wide receivers. Got A.J. Dillon, backup running back in the flex position. Tyler Bass of Buffalo, my kicker. Then I got George Kittle and Kyle Pitts to throw in. Kenny Pickett's my backup. And Atlanta Falcons defense. I feel pretty good about that going into the year. Starts tomorrow. NFL season does. So looking forward to that. Wanted Travis Kelce. Wasn't sure if he was going to play this week. Somebody else drafted him. But I'm okay. I actually almost went Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes back-to-back picks. That would have been awesome. But I only need Kenny Pickett for really 1 week when Josh Allen's on his bye. But Nick Chubb, Najee Harris, A.J. Dillon, my running backs. I like it. And it's funny because running backs are usually the first ones drafted, even though it's a quarterback wide receiver driven league, right? But you got to have a good running back, and I think I got 3 really good ones. And for the first time, potentially ever, in all my fantasy years, I have 0 Dallas Cowboys. Not one. But I also don't have any Washington Redskins or Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think I have anybody from the NFC East. I don't. Interesting. All right. That's my fantasy team. Weigh in on it if you'd like, at J Walker Sports. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. And I'm so excited. We've had some Twitter battles over the years. This was 8-9 years ago with Bill Foley from used to be Butte Sports. Now he's on his own Buttecast. Become friendly over the years. That's usually what happens when people mature, i.e. me. And while we don't disagree or agree on everything, he's still a fun interview. So Bill Foley will join us to talk about a couple of, how do I phrase this? Airheads? Bullies. We're going to use the word bullies. And we're also going to check in with Bill about just great stories that he's covered in the past, great coaches, and a whole lot more. It's going to be a fun conversation. Also going to check in with Tyler Murray, Vigilante football coach from East Helena, Big game coming to Billings Central coming to town. It's interesting. The Vigilantes have won 2 varsity games in their entirety, both on the road. Last year at Browning, this year at Hardin. Can they knock off Billings Central, the runners-up last year, at home? That would be awesome. So he's on the way. Also, what else? Oh, on this day in history, the walk-off, a whole lot more. The walk-up is presented by Montana Custom Log Homes. They are the premier log home company in the industry, 3 distinct divisions. They are veteran-owned, family-owned, woman-owned, and operated. Check them out, yourcustomlog.com, to get started today. Bill Foley from buttecast.com and wrote a great article in yesterday, Tapper Light. We'll talk about that when we return to the Off-the-Wall Advertising Man Cave right here on The Jason Walker Show.
Strength, beauty, grit, superior craftsmanship. Our homes have it all. At Montana Custom Log Homes, if you can dream it, we can build it. With 3 divisions and over 50 years experience, we've got you covered. From a showcase home to a small cabin, we make your vision a reality. Because every cowboy wants a castle for his queen. Montana Custom Log Homes, crafting homes that last for generations.
There's only one place in Helena to cure your craving for Cajun cuisine, and that is Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys and catfish to jambalaya and much more, Cafe Zydeco has the best Cajun this side of New Orleans. And Cafe Zydeco cares about those that take care of us. Military, law enforcement, first responders can get your drink free as a way of saying thank you to those that protect us every day. If you're looking for a place to grab lunch or dinner, get the flavor of the Big Easy in Big Sky Country at Cafe Zydeco on Euclid in Helena. If you were truly looking to get away for a weekend, let Auto Concepts get you started. Introducing the Overlander camping setup. The tent fits right on top of your truck, sleeps 3, and features an LED light bar and USB connections. It's easy to travel with and pack up to get you away from everyone and up off the ground. Auto Concepts also will get your rig detailed to look good for the summer to make sure your vehicle looks sharp inside and out. Auto Concepts does window tinting, lift kits, cattle guards, and more. Everything your vehicle needs. Auto Concepts, the auto enhancement professionals.
Ah, summer. A time to work in the yard and get all those projects that you've been thinking about all winter done. And when you've had enough, go to Lucky Duck Casino and Bar to cool off, relax, laugh a little, or a lot, your choice. Have a drink and play your favorite games. There's plenty of new games and your old favorites. Now, if you don't want to work hard and the relaxing part sounds the best to you, then just head over to Lucky Duck Casino and Bar on Dredge behind Jade Restaurant. Happy summer, everyone.
Do you love to look at photos of Montana, from animals to landscapes and more? Are you looking for a place to get your senior pictures or family portraits done? Are you a business owner looking to upgrade the decor in your offices? Well, look no further than Mark LaRoe Photography. Mark has been shooting beautiful photos all across the Treasure State, from rodeos to portraits, and would love to work with you. Visit marklaroephotography.com to see many masterpieces of his work, then give him a call to schedule your own photo shoot. Or to purchase one of his fantastic pieces, stop by Spirit of the Big Sky Gallery on Custer in Helena. marklaroephotography.com.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number 1, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number 1 is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today. Jason Walker here, and if you're like me, some nights are mine to cook at home, and there's only one place that I know I can trust for a quick, easy meal for my family. Dinner's Done Right. When I stop into Dinner's Done Right, I trust that there will be a great selection of food that is healthy and easy to cook, either that night with their ready-to-make dinners, or I can plan for a weekend dinner from their frozen choices. And when I'm out and about in town, I know I can stop in for the grab-and-go salad bar with the freshest ingredients and homemade dressings. For monthly menus and more, visit dinnersdoneright.com.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
This segment brought to you by Rucker's Furniture. Make the quality choice for your home at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena. Little Georgia satellites to get your Wednesday rolling. Keep it rolling. However, whatever time you might be listening or watching this at jasonwalkershow.com. Welcome back. Off-the-Wall Advertising Man Cave. And we talked about it last week, but there's a couple of dudes on Facebook that are really just online keyboard warrior bullies. They like to pretend that they care about your kids and that they do talk about AA football for your kids. But really, they're just wannabe media members. And for a couple years, they tried really hard. And then people started disagreeing with them. And it's like politics. If you don't share my opinion, then you're cut off, blocked, canceled. Well, Bill Foley is one of the guys that they've blocked. Bill Foley is a great sports writer. Been covering Butte sports for a long, long time. Started Butte sports back in 07, 08. Went out on his own. Now it's the Buttecast. You can check out Tapper Light at his Twitter page at Foley74 or at Foles, Foles 74. And he joins us now on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline here on the Jason Walker Show. All right, Mr. Foley, I guess it's been, a year or two since I had you on the show, but how's life been treating you since you went out on your own?
It's been good. My new boss is kind of a jerk sometimes, but
I know how that goes.
Yeah, but actually my wife's still my boss. I try to pretend like I'm my own boss, but we all know better than that.
I also know how that goes.
Things are good. I'm really enjoying my, working with the podcast and doing my own thing. It's just kind of fun. It's kind of nice to go to sporting events and just sit and watch, not have to write or take pictures and stuff. Although sometimes I miss, I still miss some in the big games, the football games, especially,
Sure.
Writing about them afterwards. But I certainly don't miss the other 17 games I had to write about that night after covering, Butte High or Central. So
yes. Well, you had some good stuff to write about with Dougie Peoples and Butte Central and.
Oh, it's been a good run. Yeah. We started Butte Sports. When we started Butte Sports 2012, Butte High took off on a magical season,
Yep.
which was a lot of fun. That ended with Jake Dennehy's improbable kick, I'll say. Jake says he had it all the way, but, I think the rest of us weren't so sure. But it was a great run, kind of. That's pretty much where the book ends, started with the kick and ended with Dougie's incredible performance. Everyone talks about the shot that he hit, but that wasn't even close to his biggest play of that game. But
no, it wasn't.
It wasn't a surprising shot either, because I've seen Dougie make that about 1,000 times.
Well, going back to that shot, Bill, is what surprised me about it is Lewistown knew he was going to take the shot. Like, how do you not have 5 guys on him?
Yeah, I would have had all 5. Yeah, that's for sure. They had 2, but they didn't pick him up soon enough.
No.
They figured they'd pick him up at NBA range. And as soon as they went to step out, he was past behind NBA range, and his release was just too quick, and they were just a little too late.
I'll never forget being on a call on NFHS for that and trying to film it, trying to call it. Like, you're looking through your phone and trying to do the play at the same time. And Magical
That was
moment.
a great call, by the way. I've listened to it 1,000 times now, too.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate that.
That was a fun call. Yeah.
And you just don't know what to say because he's taking the shot, and if it's not good, they're going to OT. So,
yeah. Well, the funny thing is I talked to Jesse Lazlovich. He's one of the officials on the call on the game, and he was at about 9.3 seconds or more on the 10. For the 10 seconds violation, because Dougie said he didn't realize because the big grizzly there, you can't really tell the half court is easy, and he was just walking it slowly. And the year later with the shot clock, it would have been obvious when the 10-second was, because sometimes when officials account, sometimes they're faster than others. Sometimes they're slower. I think they were going slow, so it was really close to a 10-second violation. That could have been one of the biggest calls you'd ever seen. It might have been speaking of fan behavior, there may have been a riot.
Well, that is a perfect lead-in, Bill, to our topic for the day, and that is the Montana AA football page. We're talking with Bill Foley. He is the host and the writer of Tapper Light. You can check him out on the Twitter. But those guys are at it again. I talked about it last week on the show, Tyler and Doug, and I know you didn't write about their names, but Tyler calls himself the Mac Daddy of AA football. And what a great article you wrote yesterday talking about basically these two guys causing issues in AA football like they've done the past few years.
Yeah, it's just it's really sad that it just keeps repeating itself. And I guess the best thing, like I like to say, the best thing we could do is ignore them. And, I got a couple people talk to me, so, well, when you mention them, you're giving them publicity. I'm like, well, I'm pointing out not to look at them, but you got to call that kind of stuff out, and when they're calling out Coach Mihelish, who's one of my friends, just a good guy, does things the right way, and they're calling him out because he doesn't want his kids talking to him after all this stuff they started. It just shows you that they're not really a legitimate media outlet.
No, and they're trying to be, even though they deny it in their videos, but they definitely are trying to be. I mean, that's what people on the internet are trying to do these days. And you're a legit media guy. I consider myself somewhat of a legit media guy, although I don't have a journalism degree.
I consider you as well. Yeah.
Well, thank you. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's like these guys are trying to live out their best glory days through other people's kids. And, you brought up Coach Mihelish. Well, he didn't want him, or he said he told me he'd never heard of these guys.
Yeah.
And that's why
that's probably true.
He didn't want his kids being on the show or on their show page. And it's like, what's the big deal? I mean, I just have a problem with these two guys because they immediately, the first thing they always go, their standby is come say it to my face and let's meet in person. And they're bullies.
Yeah, they're complete bullies. And, and I dealt with the other one, I don't even like to mention his name, the angry sidekick in Helena. I dealt with him with another issue over the years, which it's an unfortunate thing, but he's threatened to beat me up. He threatened to, jump me at the Tech Carroll game. You better watch your back kind of stuff. And then one time, it was kind of funny, was somebody was asking me about him a couple years ago up at Carroll. I was up at Tech Carroll game. And I was talking to Matt Stepanis, who asked me about it, that athletic director of Montana Tech. And he says, what is with that guy? And I go, I don't know, man. It's kind of crazy. He calls me names and says stuff, accuses me of things. And then I reply to it, and then he deletes my reply and says more insults. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, he must have just been standing right behind me, stalking me. He jumps in my face and points and says, "You are an effing liar," and this and that. Matt just started laughing like crazy. It was really, we laugh about it, but it was really bizarre. Not that I felt threatened in any way. Even if he was a big tough guy. Yeah, I had Montana Tech Orniggers with me too, but yeah, I wasn't afraid of him, But he didn't say he was going to fight me then, but it was just really weird, and the anger there, because this is after I thought we shook hands and I thought everything was resolved from our previous argument,
right?
That had nothing to do with Class AA football. So, but these guys, they want to constantly be in an argument and threaten to fight people, which is really funny is when Mac Daddy threatened to meet anybody in Butte. John Thatcher said, I'm in. And, John's 76 years old, I think now. And I think he at least had enough sense to drop it when Coach Thatcher stepped in,
Well, and I mean, that Thatcher name, I mean, come on. It's, if Coach Thatcher at 76 can still whoop your ass, you have a problem.
Yeah, and I tell you what, if John Thatcher wanted to fight me even at 76, I'd join the Witness Protection Agency,
That's why I'm always on Coach's good side.
Yeah.
Even when I was doing Carroll games, you were on Coach's good side.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a good thing to be on JT's good side. That's for sure.
Well, and you bring up the guy in Helena, and I remember a couple years ago, he threatened me over the phone, and he's like, "This is why you got fired. None of the students at Carroll College, the athletes, nobody respected you," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, come on, give it up. Like, I got let go for whatever reason. I've moved on. You guys should move on. And they can't move on because you brought up the title game a couple years ago when Mac Daddy decided to make it about himself and even yelling at his wife.
Yeah. Yeah. That was just crazy. And at the time, I've done a lot of stupid things and got heated and gotten dumb arguments.
Sure.
But after my team wins, when I'm that invested and my team wins, You could have burned my house down after the Bears won the Super Bowl in 1985, and I'd have been laughing. I'd have been the happiest guy around.
You would have lit the match.
Yeah, I would hope. But to get that angry after your team won, and then to go out and I think there may have been some alcohol involved in that rant, but it's just completely stole the spotlight from those young men and coaches who were part of something really, truly special. Mm-hmm. 2 years in a row undefeated. And all people were talking about that weekend after that was that Mac Daddy, just crazy video that was out there that just took the spotlight from them, kind of tarnished it a little bit. And, and luckily, most of us know Coach Oliver and we respect him and what that team did. It was just kind of sad that an adult, was making it about himself after a team wins like that. It was just sad, as I guess is the only thing I can say.
We're talking with Bill Foley. He's a host of Tapper Light. He also writes a fantastic article. It comes out every Tuesday on his Twitter. You can check that out. And you go back to what they said about Coach Mihelish and his players and whatnot. And he said, he's butthurt because I didn't put him in the top 5 or top 10 or whatever it is. But I mean, we all agree that Coach Mihelish is a class act, does things the right way, and he has for forever between Capital and Carroll. But I liked in your article when you said, I agree that someone was butthurt, but it certainly wasn't Coach Mihelish.
Yeah, even if Coach Mihelish did see that, I've talked to a lot of coaches about polls over the years, and there's only one time that they like a poll or bring up a poll. And that's when they are disrespected in a poll,
Right.
I've seen coaches, Doug Peoples one time, Butte Central had a great team. I can't remember what. I can't remember if it was in 14 or if it was 13. They were pretty good, but they were ranked number 1 one week. They won, and they dropped down to like 2 or 3. And I saw Doug Peoples say, firing up his offensive line. They dropped us down because they don't think you guys are good enough,
Yep.
And that's kind of, he inspired them. And if they just stayed number 1, the coach is like, I don't care. I don't want to talk about polls. But the only time they talked about them is when they're voted really low. So even if, as a coaching tool, it's great.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure Coach Mihelish would have loved it if they ranked him 10.
Oh, 100%.
if he just thought, yeah, but I believe him 100% too, that he had no idea that they ranked him. I'm sure he didn't look at that. He's focused on his team, and of course, the one thing these guys losing the whole thing, which I think Harry Gregg really gets, and most coaches get, is Harry one time told me that people think my job is to win football games. It's not. Mm-hmm. There's so much more about high school football than winning games. Obviously you try to win, but you're helping build better better men, turn these young men into men. And that's why my son's a sophomore at Butte High. He's playing a little bit of JV, and I'm just really happy that he gets to play for a guy like Ari Gray, and he's going to learn life lessons, and he's going to go on to do great things, in part because he plays for Ari Gray.
Yep. And
that has nothing to do with the win-loss record.
Well, and you brought up before we came on the air was, the kid you interviewed, Nate Dolan's son, before East-West Shrine game. And he put it in perspective. It's like, I don't care who wins this game. It doesn't really matter. It's all about the Shriners Hospital. And that's the way coaches are in high school and even college. And you've talked to enough coaches to know, the wins and losses eat at them, but they don't show that to the team. They, Lon Carter, track coach, longtime track coach at Carroll and weight guy, or at Capital rather, hugely involved in his kids. I remember interviewing him one time when Kyle Nickel signed to play basketball at Carroll. And this was right after a film session where he was, yelling at the players or the track athletes, like, dude, we got to do better. You got to, work harder. And then I come out and the first time I ask him about Kyle Nickel, he starts tearing up. These guys care about the kids, whether it's boys sports, girls sports. And like I said, it moves on into college where they're melding young men and women into productive men and women in society. Forget the student athlete part. They're just people. Yeah. And I think that gets lost with the AA football pages. They don't care about these kids. They really don't. These kids give them something to talk about.
Yeah. And I can see why a coach wouldn't want their players to talk to them too. They said 15 of the 16 coaches, talk to them and had players talk to them. But why would you want your guys to talk to somebody when 2 weeks down the line, maybe they're going to take a shot at them just so they can, on one of their videos, get some more clicks and brag about how many hits they're getting.
Well, and that was
on the website, but most of them are negative,
Yeah, that was, but if you post a negative comment, you get blocked immediately and they delete it.
Yeah.
Because it's it's almost like politics. And whatever side you're on, but if you don't believe if you don't listen to that side and don't agree with that side, you're done. You're nothing. They're going to block you. You're out of the loop. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Call you names. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really sad, and that's what social media has done. I think me and you are probably, I don't think we're on the same side in every political issue. Some of them we are, some of them we're not, but we're not calling each other names.
No,
but you see that in social media a lot. You used to, of course, I come from Butte. I was, I was taught from a young age that I'm a Democrat, from my mom and dad, I didn't even know what it meant, but, the Republican was a bad name and the Democrat was a good name, but, of course, growing up, I see, I agree with some on each side, different times, but I have friends who are Republicans, I'm more of a, I guess, somewhere, a moderate kind of guy, but you can be friends with them. You go and have a beer with them. You can goof off. You can play fantasy football with them stuff. But suddenly, this social media over the last 15 years or so has just turned it into people can sit back and argue and I got caught up in some things over the years with when certain issues came up. I've had a couple longtime friends unfriend me, but. I try not to even talk politics at all anymore, but it's really that's added to a divisiveness. It's bad enough when it's tearing us apart politically, but when it's doing this to high school sports, it's not right.
No, it's not. And, the dude in Helena, I know you're not going to say his name, but the vitriol, I call it keyboard warrior. And a lot of people on social media do. And honestly, Bill, if I didn't use social media as my platform for my show and radio station, I wouldn't even be on social media because that's how much has changed over the last 15, 20 years. And
I'm 100% same.
Yep. And you and I have had disagreements. You actually unfriended me once, and now we're back. And
did I?
Oh yeah. This was my early days of covering and doing games for Carroll.
I don't even remember.
I complained about an official's call, and but it's water under the bridge. I was 10 years ago almost now, and.
Yeah.
And, I
get a little self-righteous from time to time.
Oh, we all do, Bill. We all do. But yeah, I mean, like they're bullies, they're keyboard warriors, and they're, I put it up, comment on your article, and I'll take full credit because I've said it on the show many times about them. They're wearing their Letterman's jackets to Applebee's, reliving their glory days that they really didn't have.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably, I don't even know if they had letter jackets. Well,
I don't know.
Nate certainly did. Nate was a great high school player.
Yes, and good college athlete, yes.
Yeah. And of course, I should say that I didn't know Nate was involved with that website when I wrote that column because I've been blocked from it, from that page. So what I wrote had, wasn't about Nate at all.
No.
Although I don't know if he fits into that category with the other two or not, but yeah, mine was certainly not about Nate, who I don't really know him. I know him from social media, and I remember his name when he played for the Grizzlies. But it wasn't about him as much as the other two.
Yep.
And I don't know if they ever played anything. Not that you have to, you don't have to have played college or high school or college football to have an opinion on football. But it's just, they sure fit the stereotype of the people trying to live vicariously through their kids when they never did anything in the first place.
Yep. Well, and here's a little ammo on Nate. I saw him last week in the tailgates at the Cat home opener against Utah Tech, and he was wearing a Bobcat shirt.
Yeah.
So I wish I'd have gotten a picture of it.
Yeah. His boys over there, and that's I've seen that a couple of times. Scott Guernsey was really worried about that when his boy was talking about going to the Cats. I think Scott stepped in with the big guns. But I've seen R.J. Fitzgerald. His dad and uncle were part of the Grizzly national championship team in '95. Yep. And I know they had to switch colors. I can't remember. That must be pretty tough when you're in the middle of when you play in that rivalry.
Well, let me ask you this. Who would be more upset if their kid went to Bozeman to play sports, to play football? Scott Guernsey or Bobby Houck?
Probably Bobby. Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, because I think Guernsey would rent a hotel room in Bozeman. Bobby Houck was to Livingston. They take the team to Livingston. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah. That happened.
They stayed Livingston.
that was under his first term. I remember when he got hired back, and we're kind of getting off the topic a little, but this is fun. I remember when he got hired back for the second time, and I had him on the show. I said, all right, you supposedly have softened with the media and everybody else. I want you to say Bozeman, Montana State, or Bobcats. And he said, I haven't changed that much.
No. I don't think he has, though. And I think some of his kind of came from what I always heard is he was flying to Bozeman to interview for the job before he got the Grizz job, obviously.
Oh.
And he found out when he landed that they hired Mike Kramer, so he didn't get the interview.
Oh, okay. Could you imagine that, though, if he'd have been the coach and Timmy with the tradition with the Grizz?
Yeah, that would be crazy, wouldn't it? If Bobby got that job. And I don't know if that's, of course, Bobby's never confirmed that to me, but I've had some reporters tell me that,
Oh, funny.
I think that stems from it. But it's the rivalry, too. It's kind of funny when him and the previous Bobcat coach,
Ash.
I can't even think. Yeah, Bobby blocked him on Twitter.
Oh my goodness!
And it was just a funny, and they block each other. They just to, and that was kind of funny to do that.
Yes,
but the Cat Grizz thing that drives me nuts in a lot of ways too. I can understand Bobby being all fired up in it, but I really hate when people wear the FTC or FTG hat.
Yep.
I'm of course. There's probably people say Matt Vincent and I wrote columns back in the early 2000s. We used to write columns for Maloney's, and we made fun of the Bobcats when they had all their arrest problems and stuff.
Yep.
Under Coach Kramer, but I grew up a Cats fan, ended up going to UM, and now I always say I'm for the team that has the most Butte kids, and then second if there's a tie or they don't have any Butte kids, I go for the Montana kids. So right now my daughter goes to UM, but. Of course, Tommy Mlott, I'll never cheer against him, but now Big Jake Olson's starting to tight end for the Grizz, so I just cheer for the Butte kids and the Montana kids in the game.
I love that rivalry, and I was on the other side of it. I grew up in Bozeman. My dad's a 2-time grad. I went to MSU. I did PA announcing for 16 years there between football, basketball, and all that, and you brought it up in your article about the FTG, FTC, Flint Rasmussen, who we all respect, has brought that up too. He goes, just cheer for your team. You don't have to be so angry about it all the time. And people are like, well, that's the rivalry. But you're probably different than me because I'm not going to root for the Grizz ever in anything. I mean, I loved Coach Selvig. Absolutely loved Coach Selvig. Had the biggest crush on Shannon Kate when she was playing there.
Like we all did. Yeah.
Right. When she was taller than me, I walked by, she was sitting down. I'm like, yeah, that is never going to happen. But yeah, and it's people like that and the guys that run the AA Prep football page on Facebook that are causing ref shortages, causing coaches not to want to coach, and then causing problems. Because these guys will go out and give kudos to a coach one game, and then they'll rip him the next for his decisions. And they're hypocritical. They're bullies, like I said. And I haven't been blocked yet, so I'm sure it'll happen after this interview. We'll see.
Yeah, you cheer for your team and you respect your opponent. I think even as a coach, if you don't like, you got to respect your opponent, right? Any player goes in, you have to respect your opponent. And that's you want to win. You try your hardest to win, but you don't have to hate the other side. And that's what they push. And as I said in my column, that if you get blocked, you're one of the lucky ones because then you can't see that crap anymore.
No, very true. And it probably wouldn't fire me up and get the high blood pressure going, as much as it does. But these are still kids. And that's what, you have a job because of kids. I have a job because of these kids that we cover and get to tell their stories in a positive manner. We don't rip on kids. We don't rip on coaches. I mean, I'll rip on Bobby Houck, but it's fun. But things like that, and that goes back to the rivalry. But aside from all that, I mean, I love having, I didn't know who Dougie Peoples was. And I've talked about it with him on the show after he hit that shot was, dude, you're a completely different person on the court as you are off the court. And when you get to know these kids and get to know these coaches, I've hung out with Coach Houck down in Billings at, the Football Hall of Fame. He's a great guy until it's game day. And then he flips a switch. And there's coaches that are like that. They're just complete, total, different guys, except for Clint Lang at Jefferson, because he's always a football. I mean, he's always fired up.
He's always turned on, yeah.
But you know what I'm saying is, Bill, it's just treat these kids with respect. Treat these coaches with respect. You're not out there coaching. Let these guys do it. And I know you've probably brought this up with Hellgate basketball parents a couple years ago. Just let the kids play.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny you bring up Dougie Peoples and people not liking coaches or thinking coaches are not the person they are when they're on the field. Is Dougie Peoples' dad, Doug, is one of the most intense guys you'll ever see. Mm-hmm. And there was a situation, I think in 2014, where him and Coach Stanton at Billings Central bumped into each other at halftime, Mm-hmm. And it was just as much Coach Stanton's fault as Doug's. But everyone's all, a lot of people tell me that Doug Peoples is a real jerk. I'm like, you ever sat down and talked to him? Mm-hmm. And no, I just see him on the football field. I said, well, that's not who he is. He's one of the most kind, gentle guys you'll ever meet. Yep. Really puts everything into great perspective. But people say, oh, he's crazy on the football field, so he's a jerk. But no, he's not a jerk. He's a really good guy. And Dougie's the same way. Dougie's fiery on the court. He'll take a shot or two, and then after the game, you can't believe how nice of a kid he is. He's the only player that's ever hugged me after I interviewed him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, twice he did. He knocked my phone out of my hand after the championship game. Wow. I have that saved on my phone. So
that is hilarious. But you covered Bob Green. We know how he was. You covered Mike Van Diest. But you get to sit and talk with them outside of football or outside of like Adam Hyatt. You look at him on the court, you think, what a jerk. But then I have the best example is Coach Steve Keller. Until I got to spend time with him and get to know him, I thought he was just the biggest jerk.
Yeah, he's kind of scary.
Oh, hell yeah. And working for him or with him for the, last year, covering his last season and being the SID up there was I had gotten to know him over the last few years, but then working with him, he's a completely different dude. off the court as he is on the court. And I love that about him because he can flip that switch.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Now, he's the same night when he came to Butte with Coach and Helena back in the day. I talked to him after the game, after the DP High, and I was a little nervous talking to him. And, then I really got to know him. Now, of course, one of my good friends. We text every once in a while. And I just think the world of that guy. But, yeah, that's just a great example of a coach like that flips the switch. And then same with Mike Van Dies, Mike Van Dies, people he's pretty dang intense during the game.
Oh yeah.
But after the game, he talked to you, win or lose. He'd always, give a good interview.
Yep.
And then he's just a good person. I remember my friend Bernie Boyle, his son Casey and Casey Boyle and Kyle Bergman were killed in 2015 in a wreck in Butte in August. The first person to call Bernie Boyle was Mike Van Dies. And because Bernie's older son, Tom, played, he was a backup lineman. Of course, he has four championship rings because he was a backup lineman in the Tyler Emmert days. And, a lot of people wouldn't even remember your backup lineman,
Yep.
Coach Van Dies called his dad that morning and first guy to call him. And just says so much about Coach Van Dies. I have so much respect for that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, but so many people tell me, what a jerk he is. I'm like, come on.
Oh,
knock it off.
My favorite Van Dies story, and he knows this, we've talked about it a lot, but I was doing a game in Southern Oregon. We didn't have our sideline reporter. So I went down, they went to overtime. And that year I'd been doing picks in the paper and I picked Southern Oregon to win. And I walk out after failed 2-point conversion. I walk out onto the field and I said, I didn't even say anything. I'm live on the air and he goes, I'm not talking to you. And he takes a step. He goes, I don't talk to people that pick against us. And I thought I was getting fired, Bill. I really did.
Yeah.
I mean, I was the whole way back from SOU. I'm freaking out thinking, oh my God, this is my second year, whatever, calling games. And little did I know I'd get fired a few years later, but for a different reason. But 2 days later, we talked at the coaches show before, and we both said, apologize. And he goes, these guys need to know you're behind them. And I think that is exactly what the AA prep football guys on Facebook need to know is they need to know, these players need to know that you're behind them. If you want to keep up, and for a couple years, Bill, they did great work. It was fun to watch. But lately it's just gotten so overblown and they think they're media guys like you and I have talked about.
Yeah. And it's become about them.
Yes.
Instead of the sport they're covering.
Yep.
That's why else would a guy say I'm the Mac Daddy of flag football, which might go down as one of the worst statements of all time.
Oh, I mean, that thing went viral and it still probably is going viral.
Yeah, that's like a Bob Green video, man. It went
and not in a good way.
But yeah, in a negative way. Yeah. Coach Green's video goes viral every now and again. Someone posts it.
I just saw it the other day.
Yeah, he just said he's like a comet. It comes around every so often.
Oh my gosh. The first game I called from Cell Block D down there at Tech in that concrete shack. The first Carroll Tech game, my wife went with me, girlfriend at the time went with me, and she heard this just loud guy talking pregame. I'm like, that's Coach Green. So I showed her the video. Yeah. And then at the time, I think they had somebody put together the app where you could download on your phone and get all his quotes.
Oh, really?
Oh, it was great. It was great. So she went down and he came up for an interview. I mean, this is the Tech guy, right? And, and he did basically the entire third quarter with Greg Upham and I. It was fantastic.
Yeah, he's one of my. He was like almost like a father figure to me too, because I covered him from around 2001 through when he retired, so I got to meet with him more than his players did,
Yep.
Over those years. And when I got married, he was sitting up close on the aisle doing the Arsenio Hall arm pump, as we were walking down the aisle. And I love that guy for so many reasons, but I tell you what, it was so much fun covering him during those years,
Yep.
Of course, the best part was, his quotes that the manufactured quotes that he knew he was going to say going in were funny. But when he would come up with one on the spot, which happened a lot too, And, you know, he'd kind of look at you, his mouth would open up, and he'd like wink and point at you. Say,
That's a good one.
That's a good one. I would have to remember that one. You know?
Oh,
so that was a dream. I mean, there's not a better, you know, guy, a young sports writer wanting to have a little fun with his job. There's not a better guy to have to cover it than Bob Green.
Oh, hands down. Hey, Bill, I appreciate the time. Read his article. What's your Twitter handle? I forget.
That's Foal74.
Foal. Oh, you changed it a little bit.
It's I think that's what it is. Foal74 is my Twitter handle.
Okay.
And then my website is buttecast.com.
Buttecast.com. And it's Tapper Light. You can read it. You can listen to it. It's fantastic stuff. You're getting some great comments. Mac Daddy sidekick. But you brought up the Tommy Millott quote before I let you go. I mean, you talk about a class act and what he said last year after the Cat Grizz game. Oh, I mean, is there anybody better? And my wife is a Carroll grad. She hates tech. You know, she has no connections to the Cats or the Grizz. She goes, I just root for Tommy. Who am I going to root for when he graduates?
Yeah. You know, the funny thing about Tommy is it's cool seeing the people around the state see what we knew for so long. Mm-hmm. You know, we started hearing about Tommy Millott as a really young kid. His grandma sent me a Veterans Day letter he wrote for school in junior high, and, you know, talking about thanking a veteran for stuff. And it was just tremendous. It'd bring a tear to your eye when you're reading it. And you realize how hard he worked, how good he was, you know. And then I see him as a freshman getting in and playing some football for Butte High as a freshman, and watching him work hard all the years. And, you know, I'd go in on, I think it was Wednesdays, I'd go meet with Harry Gray during the day for a pregame story. And Tommy being there, by the time he was a senior, he was teaching the coaches about their offense, going through the film. And just a nice kid, when you see him like he is, when he's giving a talk, that's who he is. He's a genuinely good guy all the time, you know, and I can't imagine him ever changing. And I'm just so happy that the world gets to see what we knew for several years now.
Yeah. Real quick before, and I just said this before I let you go, Dallas Cook, what a transformation. And now he's with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, you know, he was such a stud in high school. Broke my Bozeman Hawks back a couple times, but you know, you go play quarterback for 2 years, and then all of a sudden you become this giant offensive lineman. Yeah. But you talk about a guy that worked his tail off to get to where he is. It reminds me of Alex Singleton. It reminds me of so many guys, Troy Anderson, but Dallas Cook, what a story.
Yeah, Dylan Cook.
Or Dylan, sorry. Yeah, Dallas was the brother.
Dallas, you said it first, that right. Yeah, Dallas was, in Dallas, it could have been the same thing maybe if he'd taken the route, you know. Yeah. But Dylan's a little bigger. Yeah. But yeah, what a great story. And I'm sure he's going to have to get a restraining order from Coach Lang now that he's playing for the Steelers. Coach Lang's going to be calling him every day.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Yeah, but Dylan's a good guy, you know, same kind of, and we always bonded because we're both Bears fans. And I called him up, or I texted him. I thought he was in town last, I think it was early February. So I was in town. I said, hey, you want to be in my podcast? He's like, absolutely. And it was like an hour and a half later, we were meeting at Metals for a podcast, and he kept referring to the Bears as we. And I'm like, at the time, I'm like, hey, the Buccaneers are paying your checks, buddy. You know, I would drop the we part, but he's such a good guy. I'm so happy for him. I think he's going to be. I think the sky's the limit for this kid, you know, because he's been playing offensive line for just a few years now. You know, and most of those guys that he was competing with to make the team have probably been linemen since they were little guy football age, you know. Mm-hmm. And he's got great athletic ability. He's a big kid. He's a hard worker, and I think he's going to get bigger and stronger even still. I think the Steelers are going to get to know him pretty well, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's in that starting lineup here before too long.
Yep. Coach Lang restraining order. That might be the best line I've ever heard from you.
Because you know Coach Lang.
Oh,
you know, he talks. There's three things you talk to Coach Lang about. You talk about his kids. You talk about his football team in Boulder, and you talk about the Steelers.
Yeah, in no particular order.
Yeah. The Steelers make them first a lot of times. Yeah.
That is true. Well,
whenever they lose a tough game, I always worry about them.
I texted him last night and said, dude, I just got Najee Harris in my fantasy draft, 3rd round. He's like, great steal.
Yeah.
And he'll be on the show tomorrow. I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah, I love that guy. I've known him since he was assistant coach for the Sheridan Panthers back in the day for Coach Ed Burke. That's
a while ago.
Yeah.
And a Frontier guy, Eastern Oregon Mountaineer.
Yeah, just a good guy. You know, his wife, unfortunately, she's not coaching anymore, but she was one of the good ones too.
Oh yeah.
You know, and her assistant, when I refereed basketball last year, that was one of the best places that I went to referee. Of course, I was just freshman JV, you know, because that's my first year. And hopefully I'm going to stay just freshman JV. You don't get yelled at as much that way. But
yeah,
she, I mean, their coach is dealing with them. Of course, their AD over there, Mookie, is a Butte guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they treated us right.
Well, their former superintendent, Tim Norbeck, Butte guy.
Yeah, so. We'll give him away though. We claim him. He's close to Walkerville. Timmy grew up not too far from me. He grew up in La Platte Street, which is in Centerville. Not far from Walkerville, a little bit closer to Walkerville where I was from, in Centerville. But not Timmy's a great guy who's I'm going to have on my podcast here real soon.
Yeah,
one of my favorite people.
He did games with me for a year, and we had a blast on road trips, man. He was great.
Yeah, did he let you get a word in when you were calling the games, though? He talks a lot.
Well, that was what I had to talk to him about. He goes, after the first game, I'm like, you know, the hand signals, just stop it. Yeah. Okay, let me set the play, and then you can take over.
Yeah, you can't be doing color commentary through the next 3 plays.
Could you imagine him and Greg Upham and Bob Green doing a game together?
Oh, boy.
My wife, you know what? We should make this happen and do a co-hosting one day and get Carson Cunningham and Bob Green on the air at the same time, because it's too complete. I mean, Bob Green, the screaming, the yelling, that's just who he is. Yeah. And Carson talking about, you know, science and whatnot. I used to tell Rob Tesh and all the officials, I'm like, you guys tee him up because he says something, you don't know what it means. So you have to look it up on the internet after the game and find out it wasn't that bad of a deal.
Got to Google what the heck you're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill, keep up the great work. Appreciate you coming on. And if you ever are in need of a podcast guest, reach out.
Absolutely. We got to make that happen.
Yeah, I'd love to do a show with you sometime. That'd be...
All right. We'll head up to Helena and we'll go meet at a nice establishment up there.
Hey, I like that idea. We can have a beer and talk over our mutual interests.
Sounds good, buddy. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Bill. Talk to you soon.
All right, see you, buddy.
Bill Foley joining us, Mike Miller, State Farm Hotline. It's not just a bundle. It's your home. It's your auto. It's your life. Mike understands that. Get a hold of Mike Miller, State Farm in Helena today. That was a lot of fun. Bill Foley, a wealth of knowledge. Take a break. We'll come back to the Off-the-Wall Advertising Man Cave. We'll check in with East Helena High coach Tyler Murray after the Vigilantes' big win at Hardin. Big tough home test this week as Billings Central comes to town. He joins us next here, Jason Walker Show.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
If you are truly looking to get away for a weekend, let Auto Concepts get you started. Introducing the Overlander Camping Setup. The tent fits right on top of your truck, sleeps 3, and features an LED light bar and USB connections. It's easy to travel with and pack up to get you away from everyone and up off the ground. Auto Concepts also will get your rig detailed to look good for the summer to make sure your vehicle looks sharp inside and out. Auto Concepts does window tinting, lift kits, cattle guards, and more. Everything your vehicle needs. Auto Concepts, the auto enhancement professionals.
Strength, beauty, grit, superior craftsmanship. Our homes have it all. At Montana Custom Log Homes, if you can dream it, we can build it. With 3 divisions and over 50 years experience, we've got you covered. From a showcase home to a small cabin, we make your vision a reality. Because every cowboy wants a castle for his queen. Montana Custom Log Homes. Crafting homes that last for generations.
There's only one place in Helena to cure your craving for Cajun cuisine, and that is Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys and catfish to jambalaya and much more, Cafe Zydeco has the best Cajun this side of New Orleans. And Cafe Zydeco cares about those that take care of us. Military, law enforcement, first responders can get your drink free as a way of saying thank you to those that protect us every day. If you're looking for a place to grab lunch or dinner, get the flavor of the Big Easy in Big Sky Country at Cafe Zydeco on Euclid in Helena.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today.
Ah, summer. A time to work in the yard and get all those projects that you've been thinking about all winter done. And when you've had enough, go to Lucky Duck Casino and Bar to cool off, relax, laugh a little or a lot, your choice, have a drink and play your favorite games. There's plenty of new games and your old favorites. Now, if you don't want to work hard and the relaxing part sounds the best to you, then just head over to Lucky Duck Casino and Bar on Dredge behind Jade Restaurant. Happy summer, everyone.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Welcome back. This segment, the final one of the day, brought to you by Bowser's Lucky Dog Casino. Stop in, drink, and gamble responsibly. Great staff over there. Make sure you check out Continental Divide Radio at jasonwalkershow.com, where you can check it out online wherever you do your searches. Continental Divide Radio. Good stuff. East Helena, speaking of good stuff, football team picked up its first win of the season, now 1-1 on the year. Big win at Hardin, at Hardin. And joining us now on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline, talk about that one and look ahead to Friday night's big matchup with Billings Central as the head coach Tyler Murray here on the Jason Walker Show.
I told you last week, Coach, I would talk to you after the first win of the season, and lo and behold, here we go, a big win at Hardin on the road Saturday. What were your takeaways?
Well, yeah, I think our kids played hard the second half. They traveled well. It was a tough situation. I have to leave at 6 a.m. and go the whole way there, that sort of thing. But first half was a little rough, so we challenged them a little bit at halftime. Had to play harder, a little bit harder, and more physical, and matched it a little bit. So got ourselves a win.
And a good win, and it's an early season win, which gives you confidence as you roll through the season, right?
Yeah, getting one earlier in the year definitely helps. Now we can kind of build on what we have coming up next.
Which is a tough one, which we'll talk about here in a second as we talk to East Helena football coach Tyler Murray. Who impressed you with the way that second half went and how those guys responded?
We had a few kids step up. I think we're still pretty young, but our seniors this year are, there's a few of them, but they are quality, I think. I think those seniors, they toughed it out. They gritted it out a little bit. That second half, like I said, we kind of needed some leadership that way. So they were the ones that led the charge there. So I'm proud of those guys for that.
Oh, for sure. And, you're going to rely, we talked about it last week, you're going to rely on senior leadership for a while here to get you through this season. You mentioned a tough one this week as Billings Central comes to town. Your first look at the Rams, and they got a nice win last week. You guys are still looking for your first home win. You've won 2 games in varsity, both on the road. How important is it to get a 1 at home?
Yeah, obviously that's we're just in a unique situation still, but it's going to be a fun one to get it at home when that time comes, and you don't know when it's going to come, and you just prepare and give yourself a chance, and just we want to be as prepared as we can be for every single team that we play, no matter how good they are supposed to be or not, or however they're ranked, or we just want to be ready to go for that team. So it'd be great.
You know how good Billings Central is. They're pretty good with Adam Balkenbush, Braden Flores. I mean, they've got a very, very good offense and a couple of good running backs as well. But what have you seen on film that you're looking to potentially exploit?
Yeah, they're pretty sound overall, offense and defense. Like you said, they have some very good players. So when at least for me as a football coach, I look at their roster a little bit. I look at their numbers. That doesn't mean I don't care to know their names, but I just don't know their names. So I don't use them throughout the week. So if I had numbers, I could tell you who they are. And then after the game, I start thinking about, oh, that was that kid. But no, I think, like I said, they're pretty sound. Coach Stanton does a great job. He always has. I mean, shoot, we were talking about it yesterday, me and Coach Ferris. Coach Ferris is a Dillon guy, so they played Billings Central however many times, and I was at Hamilton and Stevensville, and we played Billings Central every year, whether it was preseason, week 0 stuff back in the day, or even playoffs. So I think they're pretty disciplined, they're pretty sound.
And with that experience between yourself and Coach Ferris, I mean, you guys obviously know what Coach Stanton wants to do on both sides of the ball. Does that help you?
I think just, kind of coming into the week, on Sunday, once we finally got to Billings Central, we were able to come up with a general plan and watching film together, that sort of thing, getting a plan for that a little bit faster than maybe if we were just fresh and never seen Billings Central before. So that definitely helps a little bit.
What's it like having a guy like Coach Ferris on the sidelines or up in the box, but they're at practice every day? Because, I mean, this guy, he's a football guy, the Ferris football family really down there from Dillon. But what's it like having him on the sidelines?
Oh, it's been great. He's fun to be around for me and the coaches and the players. He's very committed to the program. He spends a lot of time on the defense and with his defensive backs and receivers and stuff like that. So he's just a great addition to the staff. He's been here since I've been here, and I'm really glad he's here.
What's he teach?
He teaches math.
Oh, okay. So he's smart.
He is. He's SMRT.
Oh, those Ferris guys, man, they're pretty good dudes. Talking with Tyler Murray, East Helena football coach here, Mike Miller, State Farm Hotline. Big weekend in football. I know you guys played during the Grizz game, but were you able to watch a little bit of the Cat game at all? And what was your thoughts on the Big Sky?
No, yeah, I did. I watched obviously the big one highlight of the Grizz game, but then watched a little bit of Cats game as we were driving back. It's kind of funny. We had college game day on an iPad with a tether. Hooked it up to the ceiling of the bus and watched college game day at 7 a.m. So that was kind of fun when we were going through Three Forks. So, I think the Big Sky, that's the hard thing. I told the kids this yesterday. I don't get to watch very much college football or even NFL football. I'm spending time watching ourselves and other teams. So I get to watch a couple games here and there and try to catch those, but I don't have a good synopsis of the Big Sky right now.
I'm sure you guys, there's enough of you guys around that know the Frontier. Pretty good opening week for the Frontier Conference.
Yes, I do. We do keep tabs on the Frontier pretty well. So Bulldogs won. That's always a great day.
Coach Norse has it rolling down there. He's got himself another good quarterback, it looks like.
Yep, white shoes and winning.
I love it. Hey, yesterday was National Cheese Pizza Day. What's your go-to pizza?
I'm a jalapeno anything kind of pizza guy. So
really,
it could be jalapeno, pineapple.
Oh,
the barbecue chicken, jalapeno, red onion type of thing. So that's my go-to there.
So you just like spicy?
I like spicy foods. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I do too, but I don't know if I could do a jalapeno on the pizza. I'll have to try that.
You got to try it out.
Little pepperoni jalapeno.
Yep.
All right. Hey, Coach, appreciate the time as always. Good luck this week. Get that first home win against a very good Rams team. We'll talk next week, but have a great day at the school today.
I appreciate it, Jason. Yeah, we'll have a great day. It's always a great day to be a vigilante out here at East Helena High School.
I told him, I said that you got to say that after every phone call now. Tyler Murray joining us on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. And because you always have, it's a great day to be a cat, a great day to be a Grizz, great day to be a Saint, battling bear, whatever it is. Great day to be a vigilante. So there you go. Big one, 7 o'clock Friday night at East Helena, Billings Central coming to town. It is Wednesday, September the 6th, 2023. It is National Coffee Ice Cream Day and National Read a Book Day. So there you go. On this date in 1905, Chicago White Sox pitcher Frank Smith no-hits Detroit. 1975 U.S. Open Women, Chris Everett wins the first of her 6 U.S. singles titles. 1995, Cal Ripken Jr. breaks Lou Gehrig's record, plays in his 2,131st straight game. And a happy birthday today to John Melcher, 1924, member of the U.S. House of Representatives from the great state of Montana, born in Sioux City, Iowa. So for everybody that complains, I don't care what side you're on, complains about, well, this guy's from out of state. This guy's from out of state. John Melcher was born in Iowa and moved to Montana. So don't give me any of that. Oh, he's from another state. Anyway, let's do this.
We're almost at the end of the show. What did we learn? And what did he miss? Time for the walk-off.
The walk-off brought to you by Cafe Zydeco. The Big Easy meets the Big Sky. Stop in for Pasta Zydeco, jambalaya, catfish, po' boys, you name it. Cajun, they got it. Cafe Zydeco on Euclid in Helena. Had a great show today. It was a lot of fun catching up with Bill Foley. You can follow him on the Twitter at Foles74, buttecast.com. Great article, Tapper Light, this week, talking about those trying to live vicariously through your kids. And we talked about a lot of other stuff. If you missed any of it, you can go to jasonwalkershow.com and anywhere you get your podcasts. Apple, iTunes, it's all over the place. Make sure you check out Continental Divide Radio. Let me know, too, at Jaywalker Sports. Do you want a morning show on Continental Divide Radio? Thanks to our great sponsors. Thanks to Tyler Murray, Bill Foley, and you for watching or listening. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Clint Lang will join us. Townsend coach Joe Horn and SWX reporter Austin Parr waxes poetic on the Bobcats. See you tomorrow.
The Jason Walker Show is produced by the Jason Walker Media Company. Any reuse, rebroadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent of the Jason Walker Show is strictly prohibited. Just listen, watch, and enjoy.